little bit of culture, a little bit of history. Last one was, game was on Mark. Got the arrow.
There we go.
Got it.
There's a lot of
see how many reference I can really take from that video.
There's a lot of culture and history in Hangzhou. Hangzhou is, I'm sad that I actually haven't been there yet because it's incredibly close to Shanghai. It's like a 1-hour train ride, I believe. And being able to get there, the only reason why I haven't, to be fair, is because people usually go for the festivals, and they're usually packed. Like, cities packed, don't get much of a chance to move or bike around.
Yeah, hard to see the city when you literally have everyone crushing into you.
Yes. So literally, I'm just waiting until not only do I have time off, but at the same time, there's not a festival bogging the city down.
Yeah, well, we have a hectic schedule here in the LPL. I'm learning that pretty quick. Got a
There
lot
we
of
go.
games, got a lot of days you got to cast. But bring us back into the LPL, of course, we did see LGD, LDG take LGD. My God, I got it eventually.
We got him.
God damn it, it's
I
too
knew
many
when you were coming
Gs.
in that not only LNG, EDG, RNG, like I knew you were going to get one of them wrong. I'm glad it happened on day one with me and you.
LDG.
Got you.
Got me.
Got you.
me. LGD taking the first game, and actually we're going to see a Rogue Warriors swap. Haro is out.
Yes. Yeah, Haro is out, you're
I
correct.
was going to say, Haro is
Yep.
out. And, I don't think this is a bad thing. He did kind of get a little bit run around the map in the first early few games.
Yeah,
for a few
so
minutes.
my issue, ultimately, I don't think it was a jungler issue. It was one of those situations where a lot of the lanes messed up at the same time. Perhaps it was communication where, when the wave is pushing in the bot lane, he should be in the area just for a counter gank. Those are the only things that I would look at and say he should do differently in those instances. But seeing Wei Yan back in is always interesting. And Rogue Warriors as a team, they have two incredibly early game focused junglers. Wei Yan's interesting because I thought his Karthus was my favorite game of him playing. The ZWuji one was an interesting one, but ultimately we haven't seen enough of gameplay out of him with the team to really judge the synergy, which is why I didn't like it too much, because I felt like Rogue Warriors still had a shot to be able to make it playoffs, and when they already have existing synergy issues, bringing in an entirely new jungler that doesn't have experience like Haro does, I think certainly just changes everything, just shakes them all up.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he goes against the badeMan MVP man of the match of the last game, and he just played so damn well in that early game.
The first dive was really well done, even bringing in Yuuki to be able to get the job done. Him being able to come back into the lane when it was pushing, away from Rogue Warriors was also another smart point. And then coming up top lane, this was not just him doing well, all of his lanes working out really well on top of it. This was a good check because this was just after essentially losing the Rift Herald fight, knowing that Rek'Sai didn't have Flash, and then being able to make a surprise visit to Krugs when he had timed that. So really well done to badeMan this game. And you're right, he ends up picking up an MVP for his troubles on this one.
Yeah, debuts and gets himself man of the match. You can see his kill participation was pretty damn high. And honestly, right now, I just loved how, you said it in the cast, relentless. He just kept going and going and going. He wasn't afraid.
Yes, and I don't know what pose he's looking, but I'm just going to imagine it to be that dead man pose.
Yeah.
He's saying that dead man walking, essentially. Coming in with his first game, his debut performance, gets an MVP, reminds me of Meteor from BLG, who we'll be seeing later tonight. The fact that he's able to come in this strongly, high expectations here for the jungler coming in the game too.
And they are going to come back onto the stage. We'll see if the picks and bans change up. And what do you want to see differently from either side?
I just want to see Rogue Warriors say, hey, you know what? One lane.
Yeah.
Just one lane. Please give it some power in the early game. Because I don't even understand. The only thing I didn't understand, because I said this before the series began, bot lane, I don't give a damn. Mid lane, okay, if you're going to have that whole handshake between Corki and Azir, I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to allow it. But the top lane didn't have to be the GP. Top lane literally could have been them having a blind pick Renekton or Kennen, just essentially having at least some power up there, because even if it's a bad lane matchup, if they have a Vladimir or anything that can do well early versus the Renekton, then you have, some gank potential there, where Haro can come up top side and help out. But a GP is not going to do anything. So a lot of it came down to them looking at their own watches and hoping for the best. Speaking of hoping for the best, bringing in Wei Yan here for Haro. It's always interesting to be able to have that discussion about Haro in his own career, because remember when he had that first split coming in for Clear Love on EDG, not a lot of people had that welcoming arms, because he of course is replacing such a historic jungler, performs incredibly well on Lee Sin internationally, and then everybody loves him. And then he's no longer on the team, which I'm a little bit sad about. But
yeah, it's been a rocky road. Definitely
Yes.
been a rocky road, and not the kind of chocolate that you like, unfortunately. It's not been sweet at all. But, have to, you know, move past those trials and tribulations. Rogue Warriors obviously not on the most fantastic of trajectories as of yet, but you know, silver linings in that game for them. They were able to hold out. It became far more, say, 55-45 than it was at the start of the game, which was very much 80-20.
Yeah, I was definitely happy with how much HuaTian and ZWuji focus was later on. That they were allowing them to be able to, you know, group around the traps, so the traps are doing a lot of the dirty work. The Corki recognized, hey, you know what, I have a lot of freedom in what I'm doing. I don't necessarily need package to just walk in and essentially put in some free damage. So a lot of good stuff from Rogue Warriors. That's why I come into this one and say, just draft properly. Because you need to give them some, you know, power and ability to play the game in the first 10 minutes where they were getting slaughtered.
We'll have to see. Focus is the name of the game for Rogue Warriors. Sleep is for LGD. No, he's awake. Never mind. He's back. Cool. He's back up.
Be cool. It reminds me of, you know, former Snake, LNG, 2018. A lot of those players, especially Guoguo, would just be asleep at the chair. And I'm like, come on now.
That happens a lot more often than people think it is. I think I've seen it a couple of times in LEC where you just look over and they'll be like, you know, a little small pause and you see Jizuke just like asleep in his chair.
God bless.
Like, you know, he's up all night grinding. He can't find that sleep. Perfect spot right before a competitive game.
I hate it. Dislike. There's a dislike button to that one. I would be rapidly pressing it. But what I've noticed, at least for this split, is that first 3 weeks, there's definitely a lot of sleepy players coming into the games. But then as you get to the last few weeks, a lot of attentiveness. Now, I'm not talking about that. For me, that was a rogue incident. But for the most part, you get to see a lot of players focus simply because, you know, the task at hand for a lot of these teams, they still believe they can make that push going into playoffs.
And LGD, they have the history of doing it. Let's see if they can continue with their semi-decent streak. They took one game away from Rogue. Can they take two? You talked about the Karthus in the pre-game. It's going to be banned away by LGG.
Yeah, not only did Weiyan come in with such a great Karthus game, but also he's just been spreading rampantly since Rift Rivals because of Canyon. So good ban, already a fan.
Yeah, we see most of the bans going to be focusing, I should say, on a lot of those kind of like supportive champions as well as a lot of the bruisers as well. Aurelia, Aatrox taking away the Nico as well. Karma ban now. Do you leave open the Lux and the Yuumi as Rogue Warriors and take one or the other? And the answer is yes, you do.
All right. This is where you get to see a lot more out of teams because more teams in the LPL have been prioritizing the Lux over the Yuumi. And they've usually been picking it, you know, even though they don't have to. So this time around, I love the fact that LGD says, well, we get the, it doesn't really matter what support we pick up.
We get either or as long as we pick it in the next rotation. So they're going to lock in. badeMan back on the Xin Zhao. Had a fantastic game one, looking for a fantastic game two.
This is already a fantastic first pick here for LGD. You don't have to change a dang thing, especially with how well that last game went out with his own performance. One thing I want to see changed by Rogue Warriors, though, is that, you know, you don't have to pick into a bad matchup with the Rek'Sai. So Lux, you usually see a Caitlyn. If that's going to be your blind pick, expect the Varus and Tahm Kench to follow up once again. It's going to be on the next few that I'm going to be looking at Rogue Warriors a little bit more closely.
All right, we see Weiwan going for that Gragas, locked and loaded. A little bit more early game power, a lot more damage potential to be able to burst someone out. As well as just disrupt team fights. He's one of two people who can fully disrupt the team fight, Janna and himself with those ultimates.
I mean, we just need some playmaking potential, right? When the Rek'Sai tries to find himself into the backline, the saddest state I've ever seen. You hate to see it. But the Gragas cast changes everything, so at least if we're thrown into the same damn compositions, you have something to get you back into it, a jungler that is useful in this instance.
And you don't want to lose to the same thing twice if you're Rogue Warriors, because then you just really don't learn anything new from it. But Sivir, Yuumi, very, very safe. Bot lane picked up. Sivir not seeing as much play in the LPL as we've seen her across the world, but definitely a super strong pick in her own right.
Yeah, if you're in the LPL, a lot of teams would just prioritize skirmishing. And what Yuumi and Sivir do is not only do you have the range because of the Unicube, but you have constant wave clear and the safetiness within the bot lane that you're referencing. So once you're out of the lane, I just love Sivir Yuumi in general. Completely safe, and there's no way to be able to get on top of them unless if you just, like, you know, ham-fist the team fight along. So, you know, already enjoying UDJ's composition here.
Caitlyn Lux going to be locked and loaded again for ZWuji and Huanggai. Didn't do terribly in that last game, but definitely did not win the lane of what we thought they should. But to be fair, they were a 4-man dive for 5 minutes.
Yeah, they had a lot of attention on their focus. And on top of that, they had a damn lethality Varus constantly poking them underneath towers. So at least the laning phase should be a little bit easier. We'll have to see if another vertical jungling gets forced by badeMan.
Again, Yasuo banned away. This time we will not see lies on that Kennen. They're just kind of basically, forcing LGD to go into something different, something new in these solo lanes.
One thing I want to point out, I mean, for your NA audience out there that still have Mordekaiser banned, we're in 9.13 that has both Mordekaiser and the Qiyana available. Lies has picked it up in the last time we've seen him. So if we're just talking about, the next picks coming through, I expect to see a Mordekaiser.
Have to see what they have in their wheelhouse. LeBlanc going to be the final ban for Rogue Warriors. Let's wait to see what LGD want to prioritize. The Gangplank. So actually taking that away from Holder, realized it was a problem, they couldn't pressure him enough, and we're going to see a completely different top lane.
I'm a fan of Band-Aid solutions. If we're just talking about how do we get better in Game 2 so we don't get stalled out again, just ban the champion for now, deal with it later.
Yep, and no real way of 100% dealing with it within a 15-minute break window, I suppose. But Corki locked in, Rogue Warrior is going to be picking up that one again. We'll see. I don't talk about hovers.
I love this. Yuuki is a Kassadin player. It is a good matchup into the Corki. Seldom you can pick it here because Sivir has wave clear anyways. It's actually really good within this composition.
But is it locked in?
Please just pick it,
but it wasn't locked in. I told you we don't talk about hovers.
I only talk about hovers when I prefer it over anything else. This was one of those instances.
But you just make yourself sad.
Yes, I do.
You do. You just make yourself sad because you're like, oh, I love this. And then they just go, nah, sorry, dude, not happening. But Azir, Corki, the handshake has been formed and they're going to back away. Tryndamere being hovered right now. We were already talking about it earlier. Tryndamere, the only champion to not be played in professional European LCS. Everyone else has been played, but you talked about it. Mordekaiser locked and loaded. So again, I like this from LGD, coming out with a slightly different comp, but it very much does what they want it to do.
Yeah, and one thing that you don't get to mention is how much I love weak side Mordekaiser. Because actually the last time I saw a Mordekaiser get picked, it was up against EDG. I think it was the EDG RNG match where, the Azir was doing really well into the matchup, gets put in a long lane where the Mordekaiser gets starved for the majority of it. And then the Mordekaiser solo kills him in a side lane.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Mordekaiser has some crazy burst damage as well as survivability, especially when he puts you into the death realm. Getting that AP shielding on is pretty damn good. And he's going to be going up against Holder's Jax. Now, Jax is one of the few people that I feel can take that 1v1 very handily with the Counter-Strike, with so many ways to jump around, get away from the Mordekaiser. It becomes very difficult to lock him down.
I mean, if you get thrown into the death realm, Jax is going to match you. He's going to be able to get that kill.
He literally has something to counter you. Like, it's just a straight-up Counter-Strike. That's all he needs.
I'm going to love this matchup, especially because it's Holder's Jax. Holder, when he first started out, I didn't really like it. I mean, when I was talking about 2018 Rogue Warriors, he was coming in for Mouse. And that was when Doumbé was in the team alongside SMLZ, and they were making these changes before the playoffs. It was really late. And I was like, I'm not a fan of it. But then he just starts lighting people up as a carry. His Vladimir and Jax, he was having insane KDAs because of it. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I want to see more Holder, especially on carries like Vladimir, Rise, and in this case, of course, put him on the Jax, give him the pressure. I want to see Rogue Warriors win because of him.
And we'll see exactly how they want to focus in terms of their game plan. LGD definitely feeling confident, maybe not as confident as they should be coming into after that first game, but they're definitely feeling good after badeMan had such a strong start. And you see the canonically friends, Gragas and Jax, that combo into that top side against a Mordekaiser who's very, very susceptible to CC.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot of focus up there.
Yeah, let's see what we end up going for. Once again, if you are a LGD, actually if you're Rogue Warriors, I would like Rogue Warriors to force vertical jungling a little bit more to empower the Jax. We'll get to see a lot of it going into Game 2.
There they are, the chants. Saying it yesterday on broadcast, very different chants in the east to the west. the West just find like a moment in the game where nothing's happening, and they kind of go like for example, the UK went for wards. London, Wembley went for wards, and yeah, it became a meme. And here they're so coordinated, they're so set up.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
What I loved was the challenge in Rift Rivals Finals, where you got to see the clash between the Chants and the LPL, where they know their Jayos and 3 Chants, and then the LCK that do that one big cheer, like, for their teams.
Yeah, there's always that one person as well. You just hear them, like, really loudly, like, almost like, and then there's just, like an echo of them there. But Rogue Warriors, fantastic double bind straight away. Heal has to be used, and Kramer forced to back away. Exhaust as well. That's double summoners in favor of the side of Rogue Warriors.
But at least LGD was able to turn that back a little bit so they can stay in the lane. Want to see what badeMan can make out of this one, but that was a great level 1. Ooh, really good warding there. So you can tell how tilted Rogue Warriors was after last game. After last game where they got bullied for about 5 minutes straight, they're like, please, not only are we going to cheese the lane, we're going to get an early ward so we don't have the jungler in our faces.
Yeah. Oh.
What?
They just miss them there. They're both being spotted here as they know that the red trinkets have been used. And I like this adaptation from the LPL. We're seeing a lot more early red trinkets. Normally, you know, obviously when the trinkets were first introduced, it was all yellow trinkets, just go from there. And badeMan, ring around the rosy. He thinks,
my God, he's relentless.
Oh, and here comes RD as well. The Yuumi roam coming in. Flash, knock up, miscue, but does it matter?
Oh!
No, it doesn't. Yuumi picks up first blood, but now there's no flash now or summoners for RD, and that's going to be the light binding locked in. ZWuji able to pick that one up. RD, you're always perfectly kiting it, but a red buff on this Caitlyn means that Corki picks up a kill. badeMan gets punished.
Where's my AD carry?
He's farming.
If we're committing, then we're committing. The full dual lane of ZWuji and Huanggai left, and I think that's completely fine. In fact, I think at the end of the day, badeMan was going to die. But why did the Yuumi have to die too? So take a look at this. I love this to begin with. A little bit sad that RD wasn't able to get the Q. That's fine, though. They end up getting the kill. The response comes through, and the moment you see them leave the lane, that's expected. Sivir should match. Maybe he thought that the Yuumi would die along with him and it would be too late, but you still got to be able to make the rotation. It's not like you're going to die immediately after either. There's not any snowballing CC that's going to be there for you when you already know the Lux's range. So, yeah, I'm just going to call that one on Kramer.
And you know Yuuki's just cursing his bot lane right there, just under his breath, just from like, free kill? God damn it, guys, you can't do that.
That's what supports hate. Don't lump me in with that guy.
Yeah.
I made the right call. I was with you. I didn't have boots, of course, because I'm Yuumi. I made the trek, and it was harder for me.
Just annoyed at Kramer. And now the red buff going over to ZWuji means that the sustain in this lane's there now for the early few minutes. They've got a lot of potential to be able to trade a lot more effectively. And talked about the Counter-Strike holder. He's going to start owning this lane. Once he starts hitting the 4, the 5, the 6, he's going to have a lot of trading potential.
Now, I'm just going to talk about what Lies did there. There's 2 ways to go about it. He either, used the E incorrectly or used it very smartly where, if you use the E behind you, which is the grab, then you can at least force the Jax in the opposite direction. So I like that a lot, actually. It's smart. You don't get to see a lot of, or at least for me, because of how often it gets banned, Mordekaiser lanes, especially in this matchup. So when you see small things like that, I'm a big fan.
We'll see what LGD's response is now to this early faux pas, if you will. Jungler's going to know exactly where they are. They've both had a pretty adventurous early game, but definitely the advantage going over towards this Gragas, who has got himself a nice CS lead. Standard Huanggai roam to the mid lane. Always see it from Lux supports. They always go back. They immediately go mid because they don't lose anything when they go bot.
Yeah, especially when, Caitlyn had the wave underneath her turret on that one. She's completely safe. And you always win on that. So even if you don't get the flash off Yuuki, you get a lot of mana just because he was able to dodge out with the full rotation of his E. So if that's the case, now suddenly easier for HuaTian in the lane.
LGD obviously taking advantage of the fact that there was no Lux, pushing it in. Very easy for the Sivir to do. You got the ricochets, you got the boomerang blade. So much to be able to just keep pushing this under turret.
And this is my issue with a lot of LPL teams, is that they look to prioritize the Lux and Caitlyn when this is a pretty damn good lane. It's better, objectively speaking. A lot of the times when you see this lane losing out because one binding, it's because of the player rather than the comp itself.
Oh, Predator pop, Lies trying to run away now. Will get the knockback, but unfortunately his flash will be for naught. As I say that though, he's trading very, very well. Gets the trade 1v2, and that's a positive for LGD.
You gotta love it. When Lies is on the weak side, he's always able to get some trade happening on his end, but here comes the response.
We've seen this before. Now the shield is down. They know it's no longer there. They're going to try and go for this. TP is not available, but it is for Lies if they want to really go for this. There it is. Double TP, but a great light binding, and it's going to be turned out on its head as Lies comes in just to try and dissuade. Flash in from the Jax means he's going to be able to get the counter-strike off as well, and it's all gone horribly, horribly wrong for LGD.
Get the dang kill.
There it is. Bop.
Last game you had the Tom Kench. You had a way to be able to reset aggro. This time you had nothing, and it was all on that one Lux binding that made it happen. Great work by Huanggai. But I questioned it last time. Hell yeah, I'm going to question it this time. The dive came through. You didn't want to see it necessarily happen without the wave. They tried to push for it and lost for it. So wave came through. It was badeMan that wanted to start this one off. With how low RD was, it's just very difficult to get the dive anyways. So last time around, you had either CC or ways to reset aggro. That's not even close to being possible in this instance. So easy response, and in fact, just completely like one-handedly, Holder says, "Yeah, I'm gonna TP too. Why not? It's safe, and the top laner is not gonna get any XP topside because I'm following him."
Yeah. Yuuki going for the Shurima shuffle, not quite able to get it. HuaTian was definitely low enough for that to really kind of hurt him if he did get caught about it, but the flash has been burned, and Yuuki gets the summoner advantage. All
right, at the end of the day, both of these guys are going to end up basing. I like this far better from Yuuki because he's going to get his ultimate back much sooner than HuaTian's flash. He's going to try for that one more time, so at least it's better here from LGD, especially after what debacle happened on the bot side of the map.
2 kills for that Jax is nothing to be snuffed at as such, and definitely something. The quicker he gets to his Triforce and the Spear of Shojin, it just becomes unbelievably obnoxious to deal with, and it looks like Rogue Warriors are going to try and go with a Predator gank into this bot side.
No, it's funny. Coming into this game, I said, I was cheering for a weak side Mordekaiser, and then you knew that Holder had a pick up his sleeve that you can go up against it. He was very confident, especially if he had resources pulled into him. This is all that, he was kind of hoping for. He's got the kills. He has the lane working out incredibly well. You saw the early 1v1 that was happening like early on in the game. Weiyan's clued into the bot side though.
Yeah, they're trying to go for a 4-man dive, trying to give LGD a taste of their own medicine, but very well snuffed out there. And LGD just back away, a little bit of free time to that Azir to pick up some free farm.
Yeah, well played from Kramer on that one. They just wanted to fish and see if they can get that cast, and in the end it didn't work, so you can stay in lane and start continuing to push out this lane.
Have got the...
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage there. The Yuumi Q definitely does a lot towards this lane, especially if you hit the Boomerang Blade.
It just sets up so much too, because even if you get the Yuumi Q first, the slow is good enough where all the poke lanes start to come through, right? We're starting to see Varus Yuumi because that Q is going to land. Caitlyn Yuumi because the Q is suddenly going to land, even with the setup, the animation setup that she has. And in this case, yeah, suddenly you get both ends of the Boomerang just because of that one.
Dragon going to be taken pretty much uncontested here. Priority in bot and mid means that the Xin Zhao badeMan has enough to go with. Very different game for him right now. 0-2 started off the other one with 3-0-1, so not having as much of a dominant performance as he was previously, but good to see him still looking towards those objectives and still playing towards what he thinks is his strong sides. Yeah,
very confident. And a lot of the times, especially when it comes to 12th versus 13th place teams, still being in the right places matter, even if awful things are happening on that end. So you can still find one pick opportunity onto Kramer and RD if they overextend in the lane. And we also saw last game, he was able to just find the enemy jungler and look to the 1v1. So Weiyan still has to be clued into the fact that he's in a bad jungle matchup, and he still needs to be worried about badeMan.
And despite the kills as well, it is a little bit of a gold lead, just over 1,000, but you can make that up very, very quickly if you pick up those plates. You get the advantage of dragons, so it's not exactly, a sure thing that you've won the early game from those early kills.
Very true. In fact, LGD just as easily as you mentioned, already taking that first plate down bot side, can continue that, can change up the lanes with Rift Herald already up. They can look to make a play towards Rift Herald and look for like 320 gold plays, right? Like that's already something that can get the game back in their favor. I want to see if that's possible here. They're going to send their dual lane right back in the bot side. Unfortunate, but you know, these plays are open and available for the team.
See the bot side vision, red side vision for Rogue Warriors. They're trying to see if they can spot out this Xin Zhao as he rotates.
Yuumi actually separated from AD to go mid, which is, it takes a long time for her to end up moving from one lane to another. So committing to that means that they were worried for a dive mid lane, a play to happen. That travel distance is something you have to be worried about. So at least making use of Xin Zhao. Say, come over here. I'm going back to lane, dang it.
Yeah, they recognized that they had lost pressure within their own jungle.
Oh no.
Really wanted to go for this, as I say. Lies just taking unfavorable trades.
Nice movement from Holder to dodge away from that claw. So already essentially playing well around it.
And a lot of respect from Lies as well. Look at his items. He's got the Seeker's Arm Guard along with the Ninja Tabi. He does not want to be 1v1'd, but he knows he probably will be.
Yeah, my concern is how oftentimes these minions are going to be, you know, at the turret for him, how easy it is for, you know, Jax to be in dive position if HuaTian ends up coming over. These are situations that are going to start really becoming an issue, especially once Trinity Force and the second item gets completed by Holder.
Still pretty even CS across the board. No real huge advantages. You have, unfortunately, though, for the side of LGD, just seen a IE finished up there for the Rogue Warriors, ZWuji. And actually, a bit of an unfavorable trade to get the ultimate out of Holder, and he doesn't get much out of it in terms of return.
Yeah, what I love about it, at least from Mordekaiser, at least he's resourceless. Like, no mana to his name, where Holder still has to worry about that. No mana, so if he fully commits to the fight, then he really can't, you know, use as many, like at least 2 rounds of counter strikes is the difference here. So take a look at this. 3
TPs are available for the side of LGD. They're looking to contest this Rift Herald as much as they possibly can. There's the Death Realm, so no jungler now. It's a 2v2. Here comes the TP, 1 of 2 that potentially can come in. LGD looking to try and fight this. Corki goes straight onto the Mordekaiser. There's the Shurima Shuffle, but the Light Binding and the Spark is going to be able to use. Not really a good fight for LGD. They're just trying to stop this Rift Herald. And I think they got it, and they get out.
Yeah. I mean, net win for LGD being able to pick up Rift Herald, where it was Lies getting picked up early. So, big win there, actually. That was really impressive.
Using the fact that the Gragas was trapped in that Death Realm meant that he could not smite it away. They had the priority on that. They get it, and they go immediately towards that bot side. They won't get any more plates, but they may get the first tower of the game.
How frustrating is it, honestly, when you're going up against the Mordekaiser in that instance, and even if you could smite it, you just get put so low. You have to use your own stopwatch in just a 1v1 versus someone who is already bleeding out a lot of gold to begin with. So, very difficult for HuaTian in that case, but for badeMan, man, is he happy on that?
See the turret plates 0, unfortunately, for Rogue Warriors. They technically, one did go down in the mid lane, but no one there to receive that gold, so a little bit wasted. And you still have the Rift Herald, you still have Sivir. You can keep going on this, and honestly, right now, I think they get 2 turrets for 1 right now.
Yeah, and the transition's going to be easy for LGD. They have access to blue side jungle. They can just move in, put some wards, look for the mid lane turret immediately after. They're pinging the dragon, so that's going to be the focus. But just take a look at this, a closer one, where HuaTian is now in such a bad position. He has to cast Flies alone, so he's not going to have that for the preceding fight. And then while the Rift Herald is being really bursted down, now HuaTian can react. And is no longer a part of this because of Yuuki essentially pushing him away. So, hey, they make the best of it. Really well done there.
A little shout out to Huanggai as well. He saw the objective and he was like, I can do this throughout as much as he physically can, and tried to steal it with the final spark. Unfortunately, smite is true damage, and you will not be able to 9 times out of 10 steal it unless, you know, if the jungler's worth their place on the team. It's going to turn into a Cloud Drake for the side of Rogue Warriors. They're going to eagle up Drakes, but arguably Mountain a little bit more impactful for the side of LGD than it is for a Cloud Drake.
All right, so BP, I'm going to ask you a question, of course. Joining the league, what have you been enjoying, at least for the 4 games that you've been a part of? so far?
I might have to stop that question
All
for
right.
the very moment as they come in. Final chapter comes in. They get the explosive cast off as well. They're trying to just fully commit to this. Flashes come down. TPs all in. Sivir still up on that top side. Kramer no way to join this fight. They get the Mordekaiser. They keep him down. But what do they gain after that?
So I take it the action.
You know what? As a play-by-play,
Yep.
I think the one thing I've enjoyed so much is that to expect the unexpected. What you think will happen is not necessarily what should or will happen, you know? And it's that level of just kind of, you know, like for a perfect example, do I expect this?
That's not going to work.
Yeah, that's not going to work because the TP's just going to die or the tower's going to die straight away.
You're definitely right about expect the unexpected.
Why would Lies think that would work?
Yeah, probably didn't have eyes on the turret HP, just said, hey guys, I'm coming over. Should have probably hit the minion instead. So these are moments like, especially when it comes to both of these teams, because they don't have the best representation. If you're trying to see LPL teams, I mean 12th and 13th place of 16 teams overall, you're definitely getting the bottom feeders.
Unfortunately. However, what I did love was that IG versus FPX series.
Yes.
That, I felt, was a perfect demonstration of what makes LPL LPL.
Because what's really funny is that if we're just talking about the differences between both of these games, they're still very much similar focuses. Great team fighting squads from FPX, same focus there by LGD and Rogue Warriors. A lot of it just comes to coordination, like the overall game plan and how focused a lot of these players are. So you see this from LGD where, you know, Lies makes that flub where you wouldn't see that in most situations. You definitely saw it in game 1 where constantly the Rift Hero plays. This game, the bot lane dives. These are small flubs in just general mentality. But overall game pace, for a lot of people, they get surprised by how often, how frequent the fights come through. And how little I have to talk, I'm going to be honest. A lot of times I don't even have to go on longer stories because it just comes down to play-by-play fight over play-by-play fight.
Suning game would have been the perfect game for you yesterday. Lots of long down periods, but we're going to see exactly how Rogue Warriors want to push this forward on Lies. He's just not having a good time right now.
Yeah, that's just going to be the case, especially since they have Corki being able to match the line. But I just like this more from LGD. Not only do they have, I mean, bot lane understood and centered. Corki's not going to be able to do too much, even with the teleport that he has. No teleport wards to be able to utilize, but even then, what is he going to do? What is he going to accomplish on the backside of, you know, LGD's composition? But now they have great vision set up topside around the Baron buff. Let's see if they can get Lies, though. Nothing.
Predator pops, Lies just backs away. Nicely done by him. But the side of Rogue Warriors, they haven't relented as of yet. They may be able to get a tier 2 in the mid lane.
Okay.
And that's a pretty decent trade. They get themselves 3 turrets for 1. Good try there from Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, I like this now because bot side not too concerned about that. But now, being able to take that inner turret, they can choose mid lane push over Baron pressure and then get LGD to respect it. Because at that point, you know, inhibitor turret is completely a Baron available. So at least deeper focus here from Rogue Warriors on mid lane pressure.
You can see exactly, you know, kind of as they're swapping in around. They want to try and put the pressure, Rogue Warriors, excuse me, want to try and put the pressure onto Lies. Make sure this Mordekaiser never gets to the point where he can pick a Corki or a Caitlyn and just keep her out of the fight. However, on the other side, LGD, they just want to try and set up for those team fights. They want to try and keep the Yuumi, maybe get a pick or 2 with the Xin Zhao, but oh dearie me.
Remember, he doesn't have an item to his name, so
not a full one anyway.
He's in a tough spot.
He's going to try and just keep it, gets the Death Realm there onto the Gragas. Gragas can just walk away pretty damn healthily, I feel. And Lies, I don't even think he wins against the Gragas. He flashes away, but there's a leap strike for Holder, who flashes anyway just to get the confirm, but Baron has been started, and Baron could be what the response is. TPs are going to be coming in on top of that ward. They have got the package as well. This could be a really close fight. There's the package. Oh! Spine isn't there, but it doesn't matter because Yuumi does that. Gets it eventually. Final chapter does go in, but here comes Holder. He's trying his best. Corki is here. Trade kills as they try and just keep going with this fight. They're trying to keep everybody alive. LGD on full retreat. Nicely done by Yuumi to block the ace in the hole, but Kramer is in no man's land. He's going to try and deal with this Gragas and with this Lux. I don't know if they get anyone out with this Baron buff.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. You still have 2 people.
Yep.
Base coming through in the bush. Can you protect them?
No! Haro, unfortunately, gives up the ghost. They try to go back in on top of this. Everyone dies. No one gets the Baron. It was a semi-good call. It almost went horribly wrong because that Baron went to, I think, 6 HP and they just left it, so it regen back up to 20. And it was Yuumi who secured it in the end.
You hate to see it happen ×2. Not only how close that Baron steal could have come through, but the fact that literally LGD couldn't even survive off that. Everyone died. Not only did Lies, of course, start off by getting picked off on the bot side of the map, but at the very beginning, like, they couldn't secure the Baron and be able to escape. So close, though. I think it was a good strategy to at least try and protect the base. I think Yuumi should have just killed herself. I think she should have just let herself go and not really come into the... But look at that, 6 to 20 HP, as you mentioned. But they finally ended up picking that up. But at the end of the day, where's the exit strategy? They thought that they can at least take the fight and push back on that one. badeMan definitely died instantly. Yuumi tried her hardest. She did.
Really, really tried, and sadly it was pickoffs from there. You separated, you're not a controlled unit anymore. Kramer just gets caught up by 2, and then it's simple pickings for the side of Rogue Warriors.
Yeah. Honestly, she was channeling her Q anyways, so even if Yuumi didn't go back into the bush, she still would have been hit. So not much you can do about that if you're LGD, and a big win there for Rogue Warriors.
Rogue Warriors not yet finished with this game. They almost looked like a good call there from LGD, but good teleport usage there from Holder and able to use the package. And I think the timing was just kind of off. Let's just, you know, call a spade a spade. I think the timing, they didn't respect the fact that there was a Corki package. They didn't respect that nearly all TPs were available.
Yeah.
And it just kind of backfired on them because there was just so many options for Rogue Warriors to really just respond to such a call.
We'll have to see what they can do to come back into this one, because if we're just taking a look through Rogue Warriors composition, I mean, coming into the game, we just loved Rogue Warriors comp overall. Like the fact that we already talked about how Caitlyn and Corki last game almost got them through the hump. Now they're back with it with a huge lead. They have a Jax on side lane too. It's as linear and as focused as you can get.
See if that focus can bring them a game victory here in this best of 3. They're already 1-0 down. There is a fantastic explosive cast. And that's going to be even more damage. You can't stop an auto attack once it's already sent. 2 free kills over to the side of Rogue Warriors. And they could honestly look to end the game.
32 seconds on Azir for the death timer. Yeah, this one's going to be tough. You're at least losing that inhibitor, and there's nothing that's going to stop them.
See exactly if the Sivir has got anything in there. I don't think this 1 in 5 Mordekaiser is going to pose much of a threat as they just push in and finally break open the base.
Yeah, definitely on full poverty mode with just the Liandry's Torment. You really can't provide too much of the fight at all except for taking someone out of the fight for, what, 5 seconds? Because he's probably going to die inside of it. So difficult, especially since Rogue Warriors just want to end it quickly. They had the Jax in the same lane. Didn't even want to put him in the side lane on that one. They just said, okay, we're cool. Let's take as much as we can. They got a lot. And now they can reset focus on the next dragon.
Next dragon in 2 minutes. They can get these waves pushed out, build up their vision control. You can see everybody picking up some control wards except for Holder. Shame on you.
Shame.
It's only 75 gold, people. Gotta keep your vision up. But at the end of the day, Rogue Warriors is going to be pretty damn happy with the state of the game as of right now.
Especially at this point where it can feel like this is your last base. If everything goes correctly, this is the only setup that you require before you essentially end the game. So we'll have to see what Rogue Warriors can do here. Being able to push this one into the game 3, they definitely look stronger in terms of adaptation than they did when they went up against Victory 5.
Completely agreeing for LGD. Unfortunately, the early game that they got, excuse me, from the... Oh, no.
Yeah.
Lies.
How you doing?
Lies, why are you there? There's no need for you to be there, and it's going to be as simple as he'll delay the inevitable, but there's no objective for the side of the team to really go for, and Weiwan picks that one up. They may pick up the mid lane turret, but I feel like Lies won't be drawing any Mordekaiser bans anytime soon, as we see Holder is sitting here. badeMan
Okay.
Maybe in a little bit of trouble. Nice ultimate there. They actually might turn this around. It's a 4v3 as of the moment, but Gragas and Corki are coming in from the mid lane.
I mean, Kramer doesn't have any mana, so he definitely... Okay.
Oh, the flash for flash. They get the Caitlyn. Good Zhonya's as well. Maybe the Zir can stay alive. No, he can't. badeMan and him do fall. Yuumi does as well. Kramer flashed on, and you're against Jax, honey. You ain't going nowhere. Holder picks up that one. It is the ace for Rogue Warriors.
At least Yuuki got a clip in the highlighter reel. That's something. Lodge it in the book. He got something down. It's going to be the end of the game. But you have to love to see Yuuki fully commit for it.
Yuuki tried his very, very best. Definitely looked like he could have potentially done some positive things here, but another ace in favor of Rogue Warriors, one after the other. And like you said, they're going for the end.
Yeah, I mean, Lies had those kind of games. 1-7, it sucks to happen. And I can't even say that he had nothing to do to stop it, because that one was definitely preventable.
Oh, 100%.
There were 2 moments where he was just sitting, tilt pushing on side lanes. And it just happens sometimes.
And LGD definitely not feeling super good after that one. That was Rogue Warriors looking far more confident and far better, in my opinion, than in game 1. And if we were to look at 2 games as a whole, Rogue Warriors overall looked the stronger.
Yeah, I really enjoyed at least the topside element of the draft for Rogue Warriors. Because last time around, they didn't have any winning lanes. And they were put in a position where they were just losing out naturally, and then required so many plays to get things going. So, and at least in this game, they put all the eggs in the top lane basket. The only reason why Lies has this much damage is because just trading through lane, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the constant damage he's able to throw in through with Qs. But Holder, every time he went in, it counted. He either got a kill, pushed someone out of lane, was in the team fight, and was the reason why they won that fight. If we're just talking about MVP material right now, coming into game 2, has to be Holder for me.
I completely agree. Hopefully the LPL gods agree with us as well. But again, Rogue Warriors, close game 1. Unfortunately, weren't pretty bad early game, means they couldn't kind of transition it at all. Game 2, they look strong and they look very, very confident coming into a game 3.
Yeah, and I oftentimes, like before this series, don't talk about draft as a detriment for the squad, but for game 1, Rogue Warriors didn't have the draft for the early portions of the game. They drafted all lanes, including the jungle. Not even the jungle. He actually not only was Rek'Sai an early game jungler, but he lost the matchup because that's how the matchup goes. So like the Rek'Sai felt clueless because it was in a bad composition. But for the rest of the team, we were like, okay, we'll just wait, bide time, traps and everything to be able to get ourselves back into it. This one was far easier for the team because they at least had a primary focus in top lane. So really good job, especially, and I know we're going to see this a few more times, the counter to the dive on bot side.
Yes.
That one was so crucial because they tried to go for it again. They pushed them off.
I think as well, a big, big factor to that. I think LGD just kind of got like, kind of tunnel visions. Like, the Yuumi's up.
Yeah.
It's like, that dive still works if you have the Tam Kench, or rather works a little better if you have the Tam Kench. And, there's ifs and buts and maybes, and hindsight is always 20/20, so you can always look back. But I agree. I think LGD just kind of didn't really push for what they thought had their advantages and thought they could just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, so game 3 is going to be important because it's not a lot of leagues, LCK, LPL, and we're just talking about Major 5. I think LMS as well, have those best of 3s. And for best of 3s, especially after, Rogue Warriors are going to feel like they lost game 1 because of the draft and because of how the level 1s were set out, or at least how the early gank patterns came through. So they're probably coming in with huge momentum, realizing, okay, we played at even footing in game 2 and we just outright won. We can come in with the same composition if they try and throw a Mordekaiser at us. And Rogue Warriors right now feel and look like the better team, just based off of how the first 2 games have went.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if they are able to complete the mini reverse sweep, go 2-1 in this series. If LGD can claw it back, we're going to go a quick break. When we return, we will have game 3.